Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cristian Fustos, and I'm solution consultant with DS SolidWorks. And while we are waiting for a few more to join, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you can hear me, if you could please raise your hand on the menu on the Go to Webinar, I'll appreciate that. Awesome. So we have some users, they can hear me. And if you can see my screen, can you please raise your hand or click on the raise hand button? Awesome. Thank you so much for that. At any point in time during the presentation, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat. And at the end of the webinar, I will go over the questions and answer them in the order that I received them. So again, thank you everyone for joining. And just a few words about myself. Prior of joining SolidWorks, I was a senior data management specialist for a reseller for over 5 years, and I was providing implementations, data migrations, server moves, and other data management related items to many customers like you. Before that, I was actually in production environment, and I was using SolidWorks data management since 2006, and used SolidWorks since 1999. So you have been using SolidWorks PDM Standard for a while, and you maybe wonder what can you do to take PDM to the next level, and what will be some advantages to do so. And as I mentioned, I worked in production environment, and we used SolidWorks PDM Professional. And the way we implemented and configured the system, it was across the entire company, all of the departments, including even warehouse. So when an order was coming into the warehouse and it was damaged during shipping, or the drawing wasn't met by the vendors, the warehouse users, basically they were opening an incident report, and automatically engineering and purchasing, they were notified. So how do you currently accomplish something like this, and how do you ensure that there is no breaking communication on that respect? In the next 20 to 25 minutes, we're going to take a look at some similarities. We're going to take a look at the architecture, what are some differences, some main differences there. And then we're going to dive into the user interface and show you how we can take advantage some of the additional features available to us, and also how can we connect it anywhere, anytime, using a web tool. When we're talking about similarities, we have the same familiar interface, Windows Explorer or File Explorer. So that hasn't changed. We actually give the users more tools to be more productive. And another benefit of that is users, they don't have to be retrained. Your files are still secure, so we're still storing the files in the same archive server structure that we have, and the metadata is stored into the database. The licensing scheme is the same, so we have a CAD editor for SolidWorks users that provides the complete integration between SolidWorks, Windows Explorer, and PDM. We also have contributor licenses that they are typically meant for non-SolidWorks users, maybe for managers that they would like to create or modify non-SolidWorks files. And also we have viewer licenses typically designed to use for manufacturing or maybe purchasing department. When we're looking at the architecture, one of the main differences is we have, for SolidWorks PDM Standard, we are using SQL Express, and for SolidWorks PDM Professional, we are using SQL Standard. Now, SQL Express comes with some limitations as far as like how much memory the software can use from the server, which is 1 gigabyte of memory. We have only 4 cores that we can use, and also 10 gigabytes of data for the database itself. And I just want to reiterate that 10 gigabytes limitation is for the metadata itself, not for your physical file structure. So anything that is properties, description, revision, user information is stored in the database. And PDM Professional using SQL Standard provides some great benefits, such as more memory, more additional memory that can be used from the server, up to 128 gigs, and some automated maintenance tasks like backups, and a more robust database engine. If you have locations, multiple locations across US, Canada, or even across the globe, PDM Professional enables you to use replication. So what that does is actually taking the data from your main server and gets it local to each individual location, so the users can quickly access the files, so they don't have to wait for the transfer to happen right there and there. Replication can be set to use on the schedule. So on non-working hours, the servers can basically just replicate the files within each other. And if you're familiar with your current email notifications, maybe you are using them now. There is an integrated PDM email notifications. With PDM Professional, we can actually integrate directly into Outlook. And one of the main benefits is users, they don't have to be connected to receive an email notification. And the other thing is that in Outlook, you can create a folder structure and you can create rules, and you can that can help manage and sort your PDM notifications. And something that I would like to emphasize is everything is included. And what does that mean is when you purchase SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional, there is no separate module that you need to add on. So you get everything, including API, Web 2, automated tasks, and replication, and much more. When we are looking at the user interface, I will show you how I'm going to log into the system using the same steps, and I will actually use a template to generate a predefined folder structure, which it really helps standardizing your process and removes data entry redundancy. Maybe I want to generate a change order, an engineering change order, and that can be also automated. And I will leverage existing metadata that was previously entered. Again, we're eliminating data entry error points. And with PDM Professional, we have multiple workflows, so we're not limited at the number of workflows or states that we can have. And it will allow me to separate the files that we have based on an approval process or based on a file that is for record only. In addition to that, I will show you that we can preview additional file types. So PDM standard is limited to SOLIDWORKS files and PDFs. In PDM Professional, I can preview Office files, I can preview images, and the installation, the application doesn't have to be installed on the user's machine. So I'm going to switch to my Windows Explorer and I will log into the Vault. And one thing that I want to point out here is PDM Professional can actually use Active Directory. So your password that you're using in the morning to log into Windows can be used to log into PDM. So the benefit for that is that the users, they don't have to remember 2 sets of passwords. And when your Windows password is changing, also the PDM password is changing as well. I will navigate to my design folder and just right mouse button, new, and I can create a standard project. Now, everything that I'm showing you here can be customized to your needs, and if you have additional information that you want to capture about the particular project, you can definitely do so. So I'm using some lists that I can basically select from a predefined options. New in PDM Professional, we can actually connect this list to other databases. So maybe I can connect to a ERP, MRP, that I can have customer information, customer location, contact information brought in automatically when I'm creating a folder. So I'm going to select these options, and now a predefined folder structure basically gets generated. And entering in the folder, you can see that also I can create files. So if you have any specific predefined templates that you're using, we can definitely take advantage of this by generating these files. Maybe in time I have the project in the field, and I'm getting feedback from customers, and I may need to create a engineering change. I can just right-click again in the background, new document, and in this case I can create an engineering change document. And it's asking me where do I want to put that particular engineering change. Let's put it in the project 3. And I can enter information. So design needs to be updated. And this particular file type is going to be an engineering change form. And I can just create the file. So now I can go to my project 3, documentation, and you can see that the file got generated. Automatically, I'm using a serial number, so I no longer need to keep track of the serial numbers. The system automatically keeps that for me, so I don't have to have a book that users are going to take the next available number, or I don't have to have an Excel file that manages that. So in this particular case, what I would like to do is to associate some files with the change. So I'm going to basically go maybe even to another project and take this particular file. I'm just going to copy it. So right-click, copy, and I'm going to associate that with my change that I want to make. And I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to paste it as reference. So when I'm opening the file in Microsoft Office, I can see that automatically the information that was attached to the file is also listed in the file itself. Additionally, we have a new ribbon that is the PDM integration directly into Microsoft Office. So from here, I can actually check in and check out documents. I can even look at the information that I have on the card, or if I have the appropriate permissions, I can change state and approve the document. So this gives, again, you don't have to leave the Microsoft Office interface. Everything it's in front of you, everything is right there for the users to take advantage of. Additionally, once this particular engineering change gets released, automatically we can generate a PDF so other users can actually consume the data. So if I switch back to my my interface, one of the most common challenges having a PDM solution and have the Vault view directly onto your local machine is that the users sometimes forget to check in their work. So when we're talking about interdepartmental collaboration, maybe we want some of these files to be automatically get checked in as soon as they're added to the vault. So in order to do so, I can go to one of my folders that I have here, and I can, maybe I want to put this, instead of being in the documentation, let's put it into the specification folder. And I will just simply drag and drop these files in. And you can see that some of the file extensions automatically got checked in. So in the background, I'm using what we call dispatch, that it's recognizing what files I'm adding to the vault, and based on that specific extension, automatically gets them checked in. Not only that they are getting checked in, but the state is supporting documentation. So I can filter and kind of like segregate the document types based on the information that I need to have. So I know that pictures and messages and PDFs do not need a specific approval process, so they are just into one particular workflow that they are in the category of library. And as I mentioned, I can now preview additional file types. So I can preview a message, an Outlook message. I can preview a picture. And the application doesn't have to be installed on the machine. So again, having this particular ability, we are no longer limited to 10 states and one workflow as we're limited with PDM standard. And if I want to, I can have the option that the user will be able to enter the information for these files that are left out, because we know we care about metadata for these files. So in addition to the automated ways of checking the files in, we can take a look at some search functionality. So I can go into my complete search, and maybe you are doing this today. You can look for what files are checked out by users. So you can just run that search, and you can basically very quickly get that information out. Now, what if you're trying to run this search over and over again? With PDM Professional, we have an option to actually create some favorites. Not only that I can create a favorite that I can reuse this search over and over again, I can even push this favorite to other groups or other users. So for example, if I know that my engineering group is using this particular search, we can basically take advantage of creating the search favorite only one time and have multiple users take advantage of that. So maybe you're considering, okay, so how can we use this to your advantage? I know of customers that they are capturing project information on the data cards, and they've created a favorite, and they are running this search for like, and they put information such as project submitted to the engineering, project submitted to manufacturing, or installed or shipped, and they are using this for their project planning. So again, think about how can you take advantage of this additional features. So we just looked on how we can take advantage of the user interface and some new capabilities and new features that are available there. By using templates, again, we can bring standardization to your entire department, to your entire organization, removing data entry errors. We can connect to other databases, and we can automatically create exports even of bill of materials that they can be used for for maybe like a data management, like a bill of material entry into your ERP, MRP system. We can preview a multitude of files, and again, the nice thing is we do not have to have the application installed on our machine to do so. IT will really like you for that, because you don't have any overhead. You don't add overhead to the machines. And having the ability to have multiple workflows provides you flexibility and a gateway to send files to the correct approval process. And having favorites in searches, it really enhanced the user experience and the ability to find the files, and even run searches for the content, so you can actually find the information that is stored into a PDF file or a Word document. In today's society, we are always connected and we are plugged in. Being on the road or on the shop floor can be extremely challenging, and even sharing files within different locations can be time-consuming and potentially duplicating efforts. As I mentioned in the beginning, SOLIDWORKS PDM professionals can connect that bridge using replication, and will ensure that all the departments are looking at one single source of truth all the time. But what about when you're at the customer site, or maybe when you're traveling, or when you're on the road? With SOLIDWORKS Web 2, I can access the files using a phone, a tablet, and see real life information and how the files are actually approved in the system back in the office. Web 2 allows you to be informed and ahead of the game no matter where you are. So, and the nice thing is you do not need to download or install software, and you can access the files and even approve the files on the go. So I'm going to open a web browser on my end, and I can just access the link for my Web 2. And you can see that security is in place at every step of the process. So I'm going to log in as a manager in this case, and with my super secret password. So I can, again, just select my design and navigate to a specific folder. I can preview directly from Web 2. And I can look for data card information, so I can search for files, and again, without the need of downloading the file or installing the application. While I'm converting this particular file, you can actually see that it's converting in eDrawings, and if I want to, I can really look to see how the assembly gets put together. So when we're thinking about how can we use this particular application or these particular features, is manufacturing floor. So instead of having a full client installed on, let's say, 10, 20 machines, the manufacturing floor can really take advantage of this and use Web 2 to get access to the files. I had a particular customer that they were having some challenges getting the information back to the engineers, and what we've done, we implemented Web 2, and the technicians out in the field, they were taking pictures and measurements, and they were uploading the information right there and there. So it was no more time waiting for the technician to get to the hotel or get back in the office. The engineers will get notified within minutes that the information is available for them. I can even preview a Word document. So again, it gives me the flexibility to have access to the information very, very quickly. So we looked at Web 2, and we saw how, again, without the need of installing a software, we can get access to the files, and security is in place as well. And we can access the files from a smartphone or a tablet. it doesn't matter on that respect. And everyone can be connected to basically one single source of truth. So there is no need for the users to kind of question themselves. Do I go to the network? Do I go in the vault? Do I go to my local drive to get access for the information? And using Web 2, you're always connected around the clock. So there is, you can be on the customer field, you can be in vacation somewhere on the beach. You can definitely have access to the information and get those files approved. So there are many other features that are available in PDM Professional, and due to the time constraints, I wasn't necessarily available to show you everything. But in closing, I want to summarize that using the same similar interface, the same familiar interface, users can be up and running in no time without the need of being retrained. We can use replication if you have multiple locations to really take advantage of the files being local to each individual location, and no need for transferring data back and forward. Having multiple workflows gives you the flexibility of streamlining your process for the right file to be approved. And you can always be connected using Web 2. So if this piqued your interest and you want to find more information, please do contact your reseller. And with that, I'm going to open the floor for some questions. And let's see if we have any questions from the audience. Is this available only for PDM Pro? Everything that I showed you as far as the automating the templates and as far as like Web 2 replication is available only in PDM Professional. Is there any data migration involved if you're going from PDM Standard to PDM Professional? That's a great question. And the answer is no, because the data, the physical files are stored in the archive server. And when you going from PDM Standard to PDM Professional is just a database upgrade, basically, in that respect. So there is no days of data migration that needs to be involved. We have electrical teams. Will PDM Professional facilitate the collaboration within departments and teams? That's a great question. And the answer is yes. If you have electrical department or if you have electronics department, using SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional allows you to have connectors that you can bring all the teams together and everybody can work on this one main umbrella, and there is data connectivity is all together. So if there are no other questions, I thank you so much for your time and attention. And again, please do not hesitate to contact your reseller if you want to get more information about PDM Professional. Thank you, everybody, and you have a great rest of the day.